As hunters, we should possess skills way beyond the kill shot. One of the things that concerns a new hunter is the gutting process. Thanks to platforms like YouTube, we can all share and watch a free how-to video. I'm going to give you two different perspectives here to help clarify the whole process. Bear with me, this is all self-filmed. Alright, this deer was harvested in Wyoming, so leaving proof of sex is a requirement. So I'm going to make a small cut, just one side of his genitals, and then I'm going to cut down to the pelvis bone and around his anus. What I'm trying to do here is separate the colon from the hide. The colon goes through the pelvic canal and then grows into the hide. You got to separate that piece and pull it free. That's cut number one. Next, I cut through the meat and then down to the pelvis bone. And then ever gently, I nick just above the pelvis bone until I expose the stomach. Once I have exposed the guts when I've got through, I slide 2 fingers up in between the hide and the guts. I lift and cut. Now I'm going to move over so I can do this so you can see it. Maybe not the smoothest thing, but I want you to be able to see what I'm doing here first. I just cut right up to the brisket and then stop. Be very careful here not to cut yourself. This is a place where people really get cut. Separating the digestive from the cardiovascular is a big diaphragm. Right where you hit the brisket and you pull it open, you're going to see the diaphragm that separates it. I take my knife and then cut that membrane. Then I'll reach up inside as far as I can reach, and you can actually feel the throat, the esophagus. I cut that, and then you just have both points of contact, the throat and the anus cut, and you should be able just to pull everything out all in one piece. Okay, now something completely different. I would not consider this a gutting method. All I'm trying to do is to give you a real unique, very different look into a deer. I'm gonna try and take this side of the deer off with the guts intact. You'll be able to look inside. So, it'll take a minute, but we'll get to rolling. Okay, y'all, here it is. The inside of a white-tailed deer with the guts intact. You can see that great big intestinal area, and then everything in front of that would be considered the vitals. On the traditional method, when I reached my hands way up in there, I was trying to cut the esophagus, ultimately his throat. This is that cut. Your heart is always lower in your chest, and you can see how far those lungs actually ride up on the spine. If you've ever heard of somebody refer to the withers, it's this section right here, above the lungs and below the spine. A lot of times you'll shoot a deer right through the withers and that deer won't die. You're like, man, I shot him right. They're always talking about the withers. Heart, lung, and then there's a big diaphragm right here. I've cut it so I could show you. This diaphragm separates the cardiovascular from the digestive. So when you're gutting and you hit this point, you're gonna have to separate the diaphragm. Food comes in, gets utilized, and then it goes out the back. Right here, you can see all this caul fat that kind of encompasses the intestines. And then your processed waste comes right through here. So our first cut, if you look at this, this is the pelvic canal, I guess. Goes right through and then goes out. That's where the poop comes out. That grows right into the hide. So what you're trying to do is separate that section so that you can pull that all out nice and clean. All right, here it is. Grab the windpipe and pull, grab the tailpipe and pull, and that whole gut sack should come right out in one piece. This is the liver here. And that should be your entire gut sac. That deer took one little bullet across the top of his heart. That's what killed him. That whole thing comes out nice and clean. There's that caul fat again. It looks disgusting, but it's actually beautiful and incredibly educational.
Y'all, I hope this video helps. If you had questions about gut and animals, just remember, don't be afraid to try. If you're going to shoot it, you're obligated to take care of it. Thanks for watching.